Today I'm going to be filming this little girl and going to be painting her for this class. So I've just sketched a little character out on greeting cards because I'm recycling greeting cards because they're quite nice papers and I don't see why we should waste that. I mean, once it's framed as well, you would just be seeing the front, and also you're helping the environment to recycle some greeting cards. So you can create lovely masterpieces on these cards because the qualities are fine. So you just need to kind of put some gesso on them, like I'm going to do now. But I'm going to be also mixing it with some, with some actual watercolor and different textures of gesso, and just getting lots of different techniques going on this piece because there's been a lot of things I've been wanting to try out. So I'm going to do that in this piece here. So first you sketch the character, and then once you've done that, we get on with creating the actual artwork. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get straight on into painting this cute little girl, and see how that goes. So I'm going to start by using some watercolor and gesso to get this going. So I'll start with the watercolor first, I think, and just get some skin tones on her. So I can zoom a little closer as well, just to see where I'm going to start on her face here. So I'm just going to put that in, and it seems quite dark right now, but I will be putting some white on that. And you might hear my rabbits in the background because they're just in the room off from where I am. And I'll just go down slightly and put some on her hands as well, or arms. So this is just basically laying the ground for what we're going to be doing. And so all this color you're seeing will get pushed back slightly once I put some other mediums on this. So I wanted to even try this as well, which is like just kind of a, what do you call it again, that I'm trying to think here, just to get some design on this. I just wanted to see, like, it's too wet, so I'm going to do that a bit more when I've got some more of my other mediums on. So I'm just going to go straight in here. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to be pulling some of this down and just starting to build layers and layers of paint. Just going in and dotting some things around. And I'll pull this video back a little bit so we can see the character. Just push it up a bit. I've got a lot of different ideas I want to do, so it's just trying to get the background in right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull in some blues because I'm going to come in with some greens at some point. I'm going to try not to lose her actual hair here. I'll just add some of this blues in here. So it's just pull it. You can have maybe some old credit cards that you can use as this kind of a scraper. This is a shaping tool that I'm using. There's different sizes you can get. So as you can see, I've already laid down some of that there, and it's starting to change already. And I'm gonna go and get some black gesso. So I was using the white gesso there. Just gonna get some black gesso, and I'm gonna try and do some of the eyes here and just pull that out so you can see a little bit more of the character. So we're going to be going back and forth, doing different things, scraping into it, doing a whole load of stuff, getting into different areas. And I'm trying to think of her hair as well, I think. I could see a bit of that. Maybe add some grey because I've not really added a lot of grey in a lot of my pictures that I've been doing of late, so I'm going to try and add some in this, and just to see what that looks like. So just scraping. And getting that going. So what you can do also with these is you could actually, after you finish painting your characters, is to glue them onto, what do I call it? Yeah, onto a board of some sort, like hardboard or different kind of mediums that will be a firmer substrate for this if you wanted to just have it on, you know, a more direct access instead of having a frame to the actual painting. So there's different ways to do it. You just need to think of which way you want to do it. So I'm just going over this character again, just to remind myself where everything is, and also kind of add in an illustrative quality to her. And then I'm going to go back in. I'll just wash my brush a little here and get some more other watercolors and add them to this. So my blue, I'm going here. So now I'm just doing this because I know I'm going to be going in with some greens. I just want there to be different areas of contrast with the greens when I add that in. So I'm just putting what you'd call the shadow areas in this. And on this side too, there were some leaves over her arms here. And then you can come into the greens and start adding that in. So I'll zoom in a bit closer so you can see those leaves a bit. You can see me adding it here. I can add some white, a little white, and then that would change the colors of the green slightly. So you just build in layers and layers. So the white helps to make things opaque. That's kind of what it does, so that it's a bit of a lighter result. So you can see how that's going there. I can then brush it in with the brush and get another effect here as well, and just blend that somehow. I can go back into the face, and it's just building layers and layers. Right, let's go back into the face. Maybe use some darker colors and then pulling out, and this darker one's never really given me the colors I wanted. So I'll put some of that into the actual, and then put some of these in here, and I'm gonna come back to this in a minute. So it's just pulling it or using a brush to scrape it through and get a really rustic feel for everything. And just making it a bit something else, not quite as controlled. Oh, something's falling off there. And then coming in here, adding some other colors, just trying to share the color all the way around. So the black. Then going back into the eyes, and it's just keep on rebuilding and building. I really like the way the nose have done that there. And then you can go over areas a bit more that you didn't have before, and just make everything slightly different than it was. So I could come in here and bring some more shadow, a little bit of white I'll come back into the plants in a minute, but you can, the brush, just use some of this. Just a little bit of water. So that's the grey that's now on that brush. And yeah, so it's just building it. I can also go back in with more of the green idea. So this is me using mainly the watercolor and gessos, but you can go in with any number of mediums, so I will be doing that. Once this dries, you can use Sharpies on it, you can use Faber-Castell like pens. I'll show you like this one, and you can go in and put more detail in the face. You can use gels and all sorts of things. So I'm trying to be a bit more loose with the way that I am creating my characters. So this will get even more loose than this. I will still go over again. I'll put in things and I will pull things down over again and just keep going back and forth. Trying to get something, but then trying to work on what I have and building into it and scratching into it with different things. And if I come closer, you can kind of see what it is that I'm doing here. I'll show you. So I'm kind of scratching into that. So I really like that detail there. And just putting more plants in it, I think, because I'm not used to having that much of detail going in and pulling in these details. I really like her nose. Still trying to pull this together, even though you lose it and then you get it back. Lose it, get it back, lose it, adjust it again a little bit, and then pull it back, adjust it again. I'll just pull that away. So if we just go back a little bit, you can see what the character looks like. She's very cute. I love this look that she's got. So yeah, so I'm still going and still trying to assess what I'm doing with. I'm just gonna look at some other characters that I did just yesterday, but not with as much. Let's see, yeah, not with as much detail as this, but I'm trying to push back and pull, and you can see, I don't know if you can see the kind of the layers and the texture on this face. So there's mixed media on this, and then the colors that are kind of showing through that. So I really like that idea of trying to push and pull back of the character and trying to get other areas into this that might not be so visible right now. And then as it's drying, you go in and you just draw with other tools in it, bringing in other colors. So this is with a Neo Pastel, which is a water-soluble pastel. So I'm just going in, and there's some areas I like I really like that area. And so I would maybe start trying to work on this lower area here with different pastels. Maybe bringing in a little bit of purple in somewhere. And these I can add to her eyes later as well, because I add the colors that I use generically into the character's eyes as well, as a kind of reflection of what's going on around and about the character. And I have clear gesso as well, so I can use that and bring in some other aspects. I'm just using different greens and trying to pull some things in here. As I said, I can do that with the eyes as well, start pulling some things in, but I'll probably go over this again. So you might not see that. Some other areas of colouring in with the green. Just to start bringing it in, so different things, and then I'll pull this over again and just keep on going in different ways, working it and seeing what happens, and just constantly just pulling, trying to do things and then changing it all the time. And yeah, a little, just gonna go over this purple here and rub that in so that's become something else. Pull it again, just not making anything too permanent, bit more water. And I'll pull that in a minute. So you can push and pull, you can push things back, pull things forward. A bit more, tiny bit more white. And then pulling it back so you can see it becomes a little bit transparent. And just putting that at the bottom here. Then rubbing that in a bit. So it's just going back and forth, and then I could go back to the watercolors again and mixing that with some of the white. So I'll just put some white down. So this is now on the front side again. So it's kind of allowing for some leaves to come in. By the time I put those watercolor colors down, this area will look brighter again, and then you have that shadow behind that. So it's just like that. Then if I let that dry, I could go somewhere else on her face. I really like, so let me just see if I do some blue, some more blue up here with a little white. What does that look like if I, there's the blue. I'm gonna pull some of this as well, so I like that. Pull some, put it down here. So it's just going back and forth, and so some of that blue is now on my brush. Just feed it into different areas, and it just overall makes the whole thing seem quite together. So it's just basically building back and forth. And with the eyes, I'm just gonna end up smudging them in a minute, but I'll just do this first. So if I want her to stick out a little bit more, I will end up doing something around underneath her head here, which I'll come to in a minute. So I could go in and get a little white and just, right, I like the browns there, so. So it's just basically going back again and trying to do some work on areas. There's always redoing what you've already done, but it's like on when you're doing digital work, you can have layers where you go back and forth and you're trying to fine-tune something. It's that same kind of idea of fine-tuning a piece of artwork. So I'm going to go a bit closer to show you what has been done so far. So this is her so far. I'm going to wash this off and try and get a little bit of light so that I can blend some of this black in so that it's not so dark. I'm trying to blend it in. So just a tiny white on the tip. Just a tiny white on the tip and trying to blend it in. And the green that's there, so. And then you can actually take now a lot more white. Just cleaning my brush and start to put some layers down for a brighter palette on this. So I can still scrape this over this. Can still do that. So putting that back there. I can use my fingers if I wanted to kind of smooth it in. So it's trying to decide what is working here. So if I put some in our cheeks, and then I just pull some down as well. So just been doing this, just building and pulling and pulling. I really like her clothing here, but anyway, so it's just kind of also introducing a little bit of other colors, a little bit, and then you can still pull. So it doesn't have to be just, you put it there and then you pull it a little bit and mess around with it. So you could do this many times over. You go and then you think you've got it and then you go back in and it just keeps going. So let's see. Here I'm just going to put a bit of a reflection in there. Her eye bit there. So yeah, I'm going to zoom out just to show you what I'm talking about on this flower area that I put before, which I put quite light colors. So I'm going to go in with some, okay, I'm going to put some other colors in here of to bring some brightness into this. I'm just gonna, it's quite nice to see the layers of kind of over each other on this. You have to be patient and wait for so. But also I'm trying to think of what to do with this actual area here on some blue. Right, and then a little black, just touch. Don't know why I'm thinking a little bit of black would be. So I'm gonna just shush that in. That's not really working. Let's try with my brush to wash that, kind of wash it in and so, and then I can actually use some just dabbing. So it's quite an interesting design that has been made there. Just from the dabbing, you can see that. And then I think before I wanted to do something with this. So if we zoom in a little bit, I'm gonna probably do something. If I can get this where I want it. Right, so So just above this area here, I might just put something down here. I've got black gesso on this, and I'm just gonna dab it and just get a pattern on this. Might not get it too much, just a little, and maybe up a little bit. So I'm gonna, if I had my roller now, this would be much, much better. But I have some of my cards. Right. My scraping tools, and I'm just gonna, so, bit of a, so I've just scraped that just to add something of interest at the bottom here, and then you could also do that with the white as well. If I clean some of this off, I could go over this while it's now when it dries, and I could go over it with some white as well, or I could just do that right now somewhere else with, I think you can use actual sponge ones with this as well, so you can do a different design with this. I could do that here. I think I can imagine something here with some white on it, not too much, but just right. Don't want it to be, so it's just a little there with some of the black on it as well. But I think my brush was too wet when I started that. I might do another one. Just so I'll probably do it a lot better than that, but it's kind of given it something extra to look at, and some other details that we could do. So here I could actually just do, I mean, I like the way that looks. I'll just zoom out a little bit. So I could do some more around here. Her outfit I like, but I'm thinking I might add something else to it. So I'm trying to think what else I might do. Right, okay. I could, seeing as this is wet, I could still pull this up a little bit and put that somewhere else as a scraping, and then maybe even dab it a little bit, just so it dries a lot quicker. And I'm trying to think, so I could go in and put her reflection in her eye. So I'm going to use this Posca pen, so just check the acrylic is dry. Yeah, it is. And I will gently try to create a white circle there. It's like trying to guess roughly where these reflections are, so we can come closer and just show you what I've done with that. So I've added that reflection there, and then on her nose, like you could do this with acrylic as well, actually. So it's just kind of trying to find all the areas that have the highlights that might be required for them, and pulling that out. So I like the way the green is in her eye, and you can add to that with, let's see, I have my Sharpies, a selection of Sharpies. I'm just trying to look for a color that would go in that. Once things have dried as well, you can use your Sharpie over this and draw into it. So I'm trying to think, right, if this color is too much, doesn't work or something, you can always, so I think if I said that her eye was basically green, and we wanted to go with that, you would then start adding all these different kinds of greens in her eye. So I might go in and get a little bit more light green. And then a bit, I mean, you can use clear gesso, but I'm just going to use this white gesso and seal this in so it's like a light green that is on her eyes there. And that area that's, I think that black, her eye bulges, but I mean, it might be fine to leave it like that. Thinking if I go in, that would be quite controlling. Yeah, just dry my brush a little bit. And go in with some more white here just to emphasize. And some white on this. Some on her head again. More reflection. I like the white. I like the pink that's in there actually. But you could go in and bring some more pink into this, and I would maybe scrape it back a bit just to have it not so controlled, or maybe leave it actually, because I'm not so you'd see how you would basically add different areas or aspects to the character. So I've put some more colors in there. I'm still trying to think what to do with her dress. I could put some of this kind of lighter color behind her head here, but maybe more of a white. And I could scrape that back if I wanted, or pens, right, I'll just put some water in this. And then you pull it in. It's not so obvious, but yeah, so some other colors here. And once these dries, these can be other plants, basically, that you can add in. And I could, I mean, I have some acrylics as well. So if I wanted to bring in like a really sharp yellow, I have an acrylic here that I could just squeeze a little. Oh wait, it's coming out by itself. And I could add some yellow to this, so it's quite transparent. So I could add some gesso if I wanted it to be a bit more less translucent, but I like the translucency actually. That's quite nice. So that's that one. So let's brighten it up in the yellow a little bit. And didn't want to bring in too many other colors, so I'm going to go back to my greens that are supposed to be in here somewhere. So it's quite a jungle of random flowers. Or I could pull this back. So there's this dress that she's got, which isn't really saying anything. I could put in some other colors in here, but I don't want it to be too dark in here, so there's not really other colors I can see bringing in there. So it would be kind of the gray. So if I wanted to get rid of this, I can do something else with it. If I wanted to, I really like the detail here. So it's kind of knowing when to stop with the actual piece that you're doing. When is too much? Because here I could just then dab in some white in areas and pull that down just to see what happens. So there's a freedom of expression here. So I'm just going to pull this down and see what happens. And just not really be too bothered about it. Right, so what I could do with my brush in this area is basically rub it in, come up a little bit, And I can use my fingers to smooth this over so that it's supposed to try and blend it in with this area here. So you're kind of going around trying to blend some areas in that. There's some areas that look really good actually, so that you might like the detail in. So. And then you can also scrape into some areas because I've done this, so this is a bit more like the plants at the other side. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit and you can see what I've done here just to draw that plant there. And then you can draw some other plants where it's kind of like there. And then kind of maybe some other plants that are not as so it's just pulling it in, and so I think this looks a lot more interesting now than it did before. And I'm gonna pull these down as well. And this side, just pull it down and see if I can scrape something into this side as well. So, and you just get really interesting, because this is with a pen that I'm drawing. So it's just kind of given a nice difference. And you can still see kind of the dots coming through in areas. So that's just really awesome. And if I pull back a little bit, you can just see the overall painting there of what's happened. And you can always add even more white around something if you wanted. But I really like the way this has turned out. And then just going over the highlights, like if this is still a bit wet, isn't it? So you just keep on adding to it until it's really, I mean, there's another kind of a gesture I could add to these, which I usually add that line there. So I'm really reluctant these days to add that line. I'm sure you can have different reflections on the eye of someone, so I don't think I always have to put that in. So for her actual details of her face, you can come in and start adding some more again and making it more prominent. So I could add more watercolor, darken things. I can use a Sharpie for this as well, so her hands are here, coming in. So there's so many things to do. So with this, I could always use a Sharpie to add something else into it. I really like that whole, the way it's turned out. It's very simple and cute. And I want to keep as light as possible, so I don't really want to do too much in here. So technically what I could do is lighten it up even a bit more than it is right now, which is to add some more white in it. Maybe if I wanted, I could add some pink as well. Just think about this a minute. So I could just, I think I have, also you can use like your chalk pastels if you want to kind of do, you know, add some extra details. So I can add some light pink with watercolor like I'm doing right now. So I'll just keep on adding and enhancing with the watercolor in the gesso. And you can draw with this with Sharpies as well. do all sorts of stuff, and I'll just add a little bit more pink on her cheek. Yeah, and so when this dries, I can use a Sharpie and go into it, and I can use these kind of Sharpies that are similar kind of color. Well, I have a watercolor pink as well that I could use, which I can go in, and that would spread, because you'd use a brush with maybe some clear gesso and you can make that a lot brighter. But I like the delicacy of it. And you can, once this is dried, use either of this. I don't want to use anything as dark as this, because this would stand up quite strongly, the red. So it would be just using the lighter pinks. I like that pink. Could maybe have used that in some way. Maybe as a line, just, you know, if this had dried, I could use it on the top part of that. So it's like, it doesn't show very much, but it's just kind of bringing in your character, using things that will help to change the layout, but not too much. So and make it a bit more prominent. But I really like that. So, and gesso dries really quickly if you're using it quite thinly. So if this is dried, most of it is dried, but you would just come in with this. I'll show you with the watercolor first. So I could come in, say it's dry, and just, you can see that there. I'll just zoom a bit closer for you to see just what I've done here. So that it was, and on the hands as well. So you could do this basically, I'll just put this. You could do this with like the watercolor paint that I've just used and some clear gesso. I have some clear gesso here. This isn't the white or the black. And I would just go over this and it would react to the clear gesso, but it would also seal it in. So just touch that a little bit on the cheeks. And yeah, just to kind of sharpen it around the neck area there, thinking I might just add a little bit of some brown here. Just to sharpen it. Just like that. And yeah, I think I'm happy with that. She looks very cute. And actually, I think while I'm still close like this, could do some more with her actual lips as well. So I'll just the clear gesso so that it seals it a bit better. Right. A little. And nose. So, yeah, I think she's really cute, and I'll just go back. And so that's basically this little character for this class. I will leave templates that you can, I'll be providing templates that will download straight away that you can have of this little character to draw and paint and to color her in. And I'll leave the different equipment that I've used, which are like the gessos. I have the white gesso. That's the white gesso primer one. Watercolors. I have black gesso. as well. I have the clear gesso as well, which is really handy for using for sealing in something. I mean, you could use gel medium as well, just this one, to actually go over whatever lines of like color pencils or things you want to seal in that might move or react to other paints being used over them. Or the Sharpies, and there's different colors. I mean, I could go over with this green and go over some of these once they're dry and add more texture and dimensions to these. And also, yeah, what else am I thinking here that you can use? You can use water-soluble pastels, which I've got here as a total mess because I am using them. But so they're like crayons, but they dissolve in water, and you can use that as well. Also, you can use acrylics, like I did with the yellow here, and then that was a watercolor green that I used up there, which is a really nice green. And you can use different kind of either stamping tools or scraping tools or things that you can use to get a texture on the art, which I need to be doing more myself because there's some ideas you get where you can't create the dimension, kind of the depth and the textures you want, so you need to use other tools to achieve that. So also, I mean, like this I didn't use, but I thought about using for flowers. So it's like a polystyrene, I think it came over a pencil or a pen or something I ordered, and you could just use that to stamp some colors on. So whatever you have at hand as well, you can use. And you need your brushes for kind of, I mean, I used just this one brush, which is a size 6. It's like a rounded top brush. But you can basically use whatever brush you have to hand, and the size of paper, I mean, this is roughly an A4 size paper, roughly. And as I said at the beginning, it is an old greeting card that I am using. And I mean, you can imagine that on a frame, it look gorgeous, just framed. And I'll provide prints of this as well. And I just thought it was a good idea to be able to reuse old greeting cards that you've been given instead of throwing them out. I mean, you get so much every year and it's such a waste to just throw them out when you can actually create on them instead of actually throwing the paper away. So yeah, it's taken me lots of years to get the confidence to say I will use this, but wouldn't you say that that is something to add to the paper than to take away? So if you have any at home, that's it, you're already set already for an actual substrate to use. Or if you like working on canvas or anything else, or hardboard or cardboard, anything, you can create something that's as cute as this little character. So yeah, I will speak to you in the next class, but I hope you enjoy trying this out, and I'll see you soon. Bye.